All right.
Can you see how you, I think we both missed that at the end where we couldn't figure out how to.
Oh, save it and save it as a .mat file? Yeah, I can show you that.
Or, I mean, save the, display it. Yeah, the last loop to display the thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's actually from topic 4. We did it. I did it in the lecture in topic 4, so I can show it to you. Not obviously for that lab, but okay. So what you should be comfortable with at this point is reading and writing in both native MATLAB data file formats as well as some non-native formats. So with MATLAB formats, there's a few really important things. One is that you remember and understand the difference between a .m and a .mat file. So remember, the .m is the executable file that has a list of code that's being executed, and the .mat file just saves data. So that file cannot be run. It only can hold information. The two functions that import and export are load and save, and a lot of you might have seen that you can use this syntax where you do parentheses and then put the file name in quotes, but you can also just do load space file name without .mat next to it, and that also works, but this is the only way to do it if you want to read or write particular variables and not the entire workspace. Now, the most important thing to remember with .mat files, and if you didn't do the lab in the way that I recommended, where you read in the Excel spreadsheet and then wrote all of the data in a .mat file, you might not have experienced this, but remember that when you write and read, the variable names go with the data. So if you have some data stored in a variable called time, then when you read in that .mat file, all of that data is still associated with that variable. So one thing that happens is when people are using load commands with functions, for example, where you're not seeing the workspace anymore. You know, if you read something into a function file, you no longer see the workspace. Sometimes people don't know what's in the .mat file, right? So you need to read stuff into the workspace first, or there's a function called who, which can tell you everything that at that point is known in the workspace, and that's a really useful function for functions. For the non-native format, I wanted you to be comfortable with basic text file reading and writing. Remember, there was like 5 different options for reading those in, so just know that you'll have to kind of play around with those anytime you need to read in a text file, and then reading in a spreadsheet file as well. I was helping a few of you that had trouble with that command on the server. That does happen, and I think almost all of our labs use Excel spreadsheets from here on out. So you might have to quit MATLAB, quit Excel sometimes to restart that, because there's some communication there that sometimes gets confused. The most important thing to remember is with the spreadsheet, there is no variable associated with any of the data, so you have to provide it by sending it to a variable in the output. Now, did you guys read in the text strings as well as the data successfully? The planet names? The two outputs. Okay.
There's a third output, right?
Yes, it is the raw data or something. I've never used it. But usually you'll need both of those if you want to read in strings and numeric data. So I'll show you that. Just a quick reminder, if you ever need to find a load or a save command, you just want to go find either through Google I always type in MATLAB file format, but you need to find this table within the help. It's a little hard to read, isn't it, with that light on? To find this page that shows you all of these different commands. It's really the only way, to remember